Hang on. Let's just fix that real quick. Let's not beat around the bush. The FIA has never really been known for its virtue and pure morals, right? But what's happening right now, well, it goes beyond the pale, and it looks like we're going to go all the way to an out-and-out autocracy that's beholden only to the whims of this guy, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, a real piece of work who continues to demonstrate to the world on a weekly basis exactly how much of a power-hungry wannabe dictator he is. Now, I'm not saying that the FIA didn't need a bit of a spring clean. These people have been in and around the organisation for a very long time who haven't exactly been willing to facilitate change or have been actively working against it. But these past few weeks have seen a slew of firings that are the cherry on top of a number of high-profile departures, both voluntary and not so voluntary. Many seem to be people who were pushing back against the old boys club vibe that the FIA has kind of always given off. And among these are senior members of the audit team, the compliance officer, a number of those in prominent legal and governance roles, Deborah Meyer, the head of the Women in Motorsports Commission, who from what I can tell hasn't even been replaced, Tim Goss and Steve Nielsen, technical and sporting directors respectively, which allowing them to bail in the middle of developing the 2026 regulations sure was a choice. Natalie Robin, the first ever woman in the role of the FIA CEO, left in May, which despite officially being a resignation by mutual agreement, seems a whole lot more like called out a bunch of corrupt and dodgy practices and was asked to leave. And of course, race director Niels Wittich, who was binned off after some interesting calls and was replaced by the F2 race director Rui Marquez, who ended up having to call 3 series this past weekend in Qatar due to his replacement Jeanette Tan being fired before she could even take over the role. Then there's another layer on this Sunday of despair, a nice big tower of whipped turd that dwarfs everything else that's been put in the bowl before it. The latest news that the FIA is about to change its governance rules to effectively give MBS and the President of the FIA Senate complete control over ethics and financial investigations, including those against Sulayem himself. And if you think, oh, that's okay, he's only got 1 more year of his term left, he'll be voted out next time around, just wait. Currently, Sulayem is the only candidate for the next round of FIA elections. Add to that, he allegedly has a $1.5 million slush fund he uses to, again, allegedly, pay member organisations to curry favour in the voting process. I think we're staring down the barrel of another 4 years of this absolutely vile human being running a large swath of global motorsports operations. $1.5 million might not seem like much, but with the unique way the FIA allocates its votes, tiny countries like my own little one down here in the South Pacific could potentially hold just as much sway, if not more, in the results as huge global motorsport giants like the UK, Italy and Brazil, depending on the number of member clubs. For instance, Aotearoa New Zealand has 2 member clubs, the NZMA, or the New Zealand Motorsports Association, and Motorsport New Zealand. That gives us, a country of 5 million people, more power than fucking Italy. Motorsport Heaven, the home of Ferrari and the supercar, only has 1 member club. It's like the opposite of the Electoral College, and both systems suck. If you have been enjoying this video, please take a brief moment to click the like button, or if you haven't been enjoying it, take a brief moment to click the dislike button. Also, even if you don't like me very much, you can still subscribe to my channel because hate watching is a wonderful thing. If you do like my channel, then yeah, obviously you need to subscribe, okay? It helps me out quite a lot. So if you do like my stuff, make sure you watch it from start all the way to the finish, because every little moment of watch time really helps me out. And if you're here regularly, as always, so much aroha, you guys are the best. And the absolute refusal to share where money collected from fines ends up really does make you wonder. You know what MBS said about the fine thing? This is fucking hilarious. Okay, hang on. The drivers are getting over 100 million. Do I ask where they spend it? No, it's up to them. It's their right. We do whatever we do with the money. It's our business. It's also with them and their money. It's their business. What? You are a governing body, not a goddamn individual. I expect my government to open up its budget and share how it's spending my taxes, and my local council to share where it's spending my parking fines and my land rates. But it sure as shit is none of their business how many 12 packs of IPA I go through a week. You call yourself a governing body, you have to fucking act like one, and that includes transparency around funds allocation. It doesn't include asking Charles Leclerc how much he spent on fuel for his yacht in the previous financial year. It's a false equivalency. So what's another term of Mohammed Ben Sulayem going to look like? Well, look at all the controversies, large and small, he's got himself embroiled in over the years. Multiply that by having full control over holding himself to more than likely zero accountability, and you've got a huge hot fucking mess. Allegations of sexism and interfering with racing outcomes, Sweargate and the subsequent racially charged "we need to differentiate ourselves from rappers" comment, that whole thing where drivers were told not to state any political opinions, the Las Vegas certification debacle, plus a variety of beyond cringe defensive quotes and smaller flashpoints and niggles that have steadily built negative sentiment around him, do not make for a stable governing body. Could this be a return to Formula One teams chucking around the idea of a breakaway series again? With the popularity of the sport at an all-time high, online fandom becoming more and more of a thing, and the personalities being a major drawcard for a whole lot of newer fans, this might be the first time the people we tune in to watch 24 weekends a year might actually have the balance of power tipping in their direction. Because let's be real here. Qatar was an absolute shit show. A highly entertaining shit show, but a shit show nonetheless. All of which stemmed from decisions made by FIA officials, or lack of, as was the case, because anyone watching could see that having a fucking mirror right in the middle of the only feasible overtaking spot on the track was going to end in disaster. And sure, there's no way the stewards could have known Lando would be the one not to lift on the main straight. And sure, the penalty he was given was consistent with previous examples of the same offence. But in the moment, when you're watching, it sure did feel like someone had picked up the phone and gone, hey, make sure we come out of this with a Constructors' Championship still alive or you're fired. And you know, if these kind of interesting calls do continue to happen and the ethics complaints start stacking up, I assure you, there will be no accountability. But there will probably be a whole slew of people suddenly out of jobs for bullshit reasons.